The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will be live.
Greetings, my fellow warriors, boy Meckanimal, and today we're going to answer the question of whether or not you should go ass to grass in order to achieve this substantial muscle gain in the leg. So, yeah, rephrasing the question again, is ass to grass necessary? Should you go ass to grass? The answer is no, you don't have to go ass to grass. As much as ass to grass will be a great range of motion, obviously for muscle gain and for general strength, except for whenever you're working for specific strength, you may have to alter the range of motion. You definitely how to avoid the ass to grass motion. But that's beside the point. Generally, you'll go ass to grass when you want to work on your mobility. If you happen to be one of those individuals that have extensive extreme amount of mobility in your hip, you can afford to do so. The only problem is going way ass to grass can result in butt wink, and that's something you want to avoid if your hamstring are too tight. And the people who have extreme amount of butt wink are those who have like a tight hip mobility, hamstring mobility. And what happens is, as you descend past 90 degree, you get your hamstring that stretch and then pull your pelvis back down, resulting in a butt wink. So my advice will be, if you want to go ass to grass, you go as ass to grass as your butt wink allow you to. So right before you observe the butt wink, that's what you stop the ass to grass. So that should be the main rule of thumb if you want to definitely perform ass to grass movement. But for safety purpose and for energy, for saving energy and energy optimization purpose, I would suggest you to just break parallel about few inches, about 1 or 2 inches below parallel should be good enough for you to have a good work in your leg. So, like I said, when I first started, I used to be one of those people that would advocate the ass to grass because I had the ability to. And you would tend to observe that it's something that you observe and notice around people that have the mobility to do so. They would tend to want to force people to go ass to grass just because they can do so. And actually, the reality is that you don't have to go ass to grass. Just breaking parallel alone is good enough to relieve the shear pressure from your patella, and that's one of the reasons why it's good to break parallel and not just stop at parallel. So for knee health purpose on the long term, and then beyond that, you have the fact that you get more work by going through a longer range of motion. But as far as breaking that range of motion all the way, getting past that range of motion all the way down and coming back, I will leave it to your own discretion. But what to keep in mind is that you do have to be careful about the butt wink. It's not that dangerous, but repetitively is something that can end up being an Achilles heel. And it can end up being an Achilles heel, and end up messing up your lower back. It may not happen right away, but over time, it's something that you have to worry about. If you keep on having that extreme butt wink, because that can be avoided by working on your hamstring mobility. So that's that. I think that answers it. I'm not gonna digress too much, and I'm not gonna go past the essential. The essential is, one, you don't need to go ass to grass. Just break slightly parallel should be good enough. And if you were to decide to go ass to grass for whatever purpose, whether it's the training, whatever sport you're training for, demand that specificity, then just make sure that as you go ass to grass, you want to make sure that you stop right before you observe that extreme butt wink, because all of us will observe some type of butt wink as we reach the bottom of the squat. So to avoid the butt wink, make sure that you work on your hamstring flexibility, stretch your hamstring, and the more flexible your hamstring is, the lesser butt wink you will be observing. So that's that. I think I covered that pretty much. And yeah, I have another question from a fellow warrior who asked me as well, if you are good at ass to grad, does it mean that the transfer to just parallel will be much easier? Will you be able to do more weights if you just stop at parallel? Yeah, it could be more weight. How much weight is hard to tell. How much transfer of strength you could have from being able to do ass to grass to just stopping at parallel. Everybody's different depending on your anthropometry, depending the leverage of the human body, the genetic ability to exert strength in specific angle. There's so many factors out there that that would not let you assess the right amount of transfer, but certainly you would be able to do a little more. I'm not sure that it will be like substantial amount of weight, because the thing is, you get good at the range of motion that you train, and even though the going lower, breaking parallel, especially as to grass, working more range, working through a longer range of motion will be more work and demanding you to be stronger. Once you cut the range of motion short, nothing guarantees that it will be you will be able to be as efficient at the movement as when you go down in the bottom, if you see what I'm saying. So if you happen to be one person who happen to be as efficient when you break just a parallel as much as when you go ass to grass, so definitely you'd be able to carry a lot more weight. But it's not just black and white. Being able to go through a longer range of motion efficiently doesn't mean that you'll be able to be as efficient whenever you cut the range of motion short, if you see what I'm saying. But from the common sense standpoint, you should be able to get more weight if you cut the range of motion shorter, because you not be you will not be required to go through that sticking point, and that sticking point is the reason why actually a lot of people cut the range of motion short, because once you reach the sticking point, it's really hard to get out of the sticking point. It requires you to work a lot more. So if you don't have to get through that sticking point, then technically you can load a lot of weight and just be fine, So the question will be, instead of parallel, slightly below parallel, or ass to grass. That's between the carryover of how much weight you can carry whenever it's ass to grass compared to just below parallel. That's what that's the question that you should be asking, not just parallel, because parallel, just stopping at parallel and not getting past that sticking points make things a lot easier than they should be. So, and you should not be entertaining even that idea unless you're working for jump and have verticals and stuff like that, where you have to be specific in the joint angle and strength that you're working. But for general strength, you definitely will have to go through breaking slightly below parallel. That's what I would suggest everybody to do, and that's what you will see me do. Not that I don't have the ability to go ass to grass, I could go. It's just not that necessary, and I've learned to be more efficient because I have a lot of other stuff that I'm working on. So it is in my interest to save as much energy as possible so that I can be efficient at the other goals that I have as well in regard to fitness. So that's that. You don't have to go ass to grass, but if you go ass to grass, please make sure that you get your hamstring right, avoid the butt wink as much as possible. It can be impossible to avoid it, but avoid it as much as possible. And that's that. May the force be with you. Everything is and will always be the Meckanimal way. And the ass to grass, there you have it. Salute. Hey, you messing up my video, little man. Bye, bye, bye.
revolution will not be televised. The revolution will be live.